They are coming. Go, torch it. Burn it all.
But what about the serum?
Leave nothing. Now I will show you how I deal with informants. Finish him.
With pleasure.
These are the coordinates Ellis sent.
Over there.
It's Ellis. Executed. Leon, you find anything?
The place is torched. I don't know what they were growing, but it wasn't narcotics.
Romer knew we were coming.
So what's our next move?
We watch for the next viral outbreak. We won't have to wait long.
Logan's report was clear enough.
I want 2 additional teams assigned to this. Find Romer.
I understand.
Logan is my best agent. What do you want to do?
Nothing. We will wait. We will wait and see what he can discover.
Our WHO contact was correct. Everyone within 100 miles is dead.
Not everyone. This man is still alive.
How is that possible?
It's not.
Just let me make sure that the game audio doesn't come in too loud against me, and then I'll run these first few stages. Probably everything just up to the museum, everything up to Gerdu. And yeah, I'm back on the emulator for the speedrun specifically, because I gotta run the PAL version, and my PS2 can't run the PAL version that I have. But I'm gonna just make a restore point here too, because I'm gonna want to refresh this first stage especially. Yeah, there we go. So right away, let's go over this. So whenever you start a new game, it loads you right into a briefing, which is followed by a cinematic.
When does the operation begin?
Our intelligence within...
You skip this, and then after that, it's this little in-game thing. If you watch this all the way through, if you don't skip this, this little cutscene,
Copy. I'm on my way.
for some reason, and this works on any stage that has a briefing, an FMV, and then an in-game cutscene, if you restart the mission, that will forcibly skip the cutscene completely, the FMV, and go straight to the cutscene.
I've got an ID match for Roma on them.
Check.
Which obviously seems very slow in a speedrun, but because this is the first stage, there's a bit of a loophole. Because you can also load into the first stage by clicking New Game. That's typically the strat right there, so...
When does the operation begin?
Our intelligence within the...
So once this plays out, instead of just restarting the mission, you would quit the game. You would quit back to the main menu. Oddly enough, it actually works with other stuff too. So now that I watched all of that, I could go to any other mission and it would skip their cutscene too. But... and yet that's just a unique dynamic of the first stage. So technically you wouldn't start your timer until now, which let me make my restore point here then. That way you can skip through that cutscene, save that little bit of time. But also, because it skips the FMV, another dynamic is now in play. And I know this is just the beginning of the speedrun, but in stages where it goes straight from a briefing to an in-game cutscene, if you hold X right out of the briefing, it will roll prematurely out of the cutscene, and you'll load into the level like a couple of seconds before you're supposed to. Which is actually critical for headshotting Mara. Mara is one of those stages that goes from the briefing straight to her running down the subway tunnels. And so you want to get that premature roll. But now because we can skip this cutscene, you have to hold X because it still plays it. You have to skip it. But then once you do, I'm holding circle now. And see how I started moving before the car even blew up? That's the whole point of doing that. I personally don't think it should be allowed because you have to, you know, start the game to set it up anyway, but it is allowed, so there's no reason not to do it. Ooh, oh yeah, I spawned both guys. You can see them on the radar. So now it'll force the checkpoint right here, instead of me having to linger in the corridor. To do that, it's a very specific pattern. You gotta kill the one guy on the run-in the way that I did, and then when I turned around, there had to have been 2 guys that spawned out of the back of the bank, which they did. We only saw the one that I killed, but if you looked at the radar, there was one running towards the bomb. So as long as that was the case, that other dude spawns at entry of the bank, which you saw me kill him, and as long as those 3 guys die, the other guy can stay alive and you can still force the checkpoint. If those conditions aren't met and you try to brute force it, once you reach that threshold, you'll fail the objective. Why didn't my lock-on work?
I've taken out Kravitz and destroyed the comm equipment, but I don't see their uplink dish.
I'll trace it.
And I don't have my timer going just because I haven't gotten all that back set up yet, but I'll have it within the next couple of days. Ooh, see, you want to toggle to the M16 while you're falling, because you'll notice that very slight landing lag. You don't want that. I also should have fallen onto the elevator, but...
You've bypassed the subway security. The ramp in the first terminal should be clear now.
It's faster to turn around before the elevator than after, because you'll turn around while the animation already started, and you don't ever want to look at Jeremy. That's how you avoid Jeremy, is by not looking at him. That's another advantage I feel like I have in the speedrun compared to the guys who are above me in the times, is that I can run sideways and backwards like a motherfucker. I see these other guys not able to, and it's just like, ha. But that's exactly why I play the speedrun the way that I do. I play it to my strengths. I play this game. I speedrun at an angle, as you'll see.
Beacon set. Tell CBDC to get its guys down here.
Copy. They're on their way.
Like, damn, bro, did you just hit a backwards diagonal in Syphonfilter? Of course I did. I can do whatever I want. That dude's worth killing if he's got ammo, just because you can get more reckless with it. And see right there, interact skip, switch into the sniper rifle to avoid landing lag on the elevator. Weapon scrolling is a good way to avoid landing lag, but it also retains momentum. So if you're dropping off a high ledge with it, it'll carry you right off if you're used to just dropping down. So you gotta know when to just run and not be doing shit. Same thing with rolling. Rolling carries momentum, which you'll hear me talk about rolling a lot. What the fuck? Oh.
Dave, what's happening?
I cut it too short with the bomb. That's a stupid way to lose like a second. You want to have a memory card in, but you don't want to save. That's the fastest way to get through those menus. You can... And so, like, look at this stage. This is one of the stages I was talking about where you can... it goes straight from the briefing to the FMV, or into the in-game cutscene, but look at what happens if you try to roll prematurely here. So just hold X, and as soon as the briefing disappears, hold circle. Death. So you don't want to do that here, and there's no way to angle out of it. It's pretty much always a straight roll.
Right.
So it's not always useful, but it's important to remember that you can do that in any stage where it goes from a briefing to an in-game cutscene.
should be all the C4 you need to blow open that passage.
Oh, man. I hate this guy sometimes. And then I can hopefully get this during the run pretty consistently now. Of course, I'm not really polished right now, but let's see. Damn. That might have cost me that slight hesitation, but we'll do it again.
CBDC is on their way in.
Yeah, you gotta like pretty much be up on that second blue pole's ass.
Leon, I found the gas main. I'm shutting it down.
Wait for him to say down and then turn. See what I'm saying? I don't need to see. How many times have you heard me say this in every game that I've ever played if you are familiar with the channel? I do not need to see. If I can, all the better. And so here's another stage where you want to hold the circle prematurely, and I'll show you the difference in the Mara headshot. I'll show you it without first. Let me sip my coffee. So as you can see, it's nothing too bad in these first few stages. The worst thing you might get in the first 3 stages, everything from stage 1 up to here with Mara, other than Mara itself, the big problem areas are going to be that fire skip. And that gas main trick, if you don't really know, it can be really hard. It's a very strict timer, first of all, and if you don't do it like with the right loading zones in mind, you're gonna fail the objective right as you're hitting the gas main, and it costs you a lot of time because you got to climb all the way back up there. But as you can see, you know, once you get it down. But anyway, honestly, that very first objective in the bank might actually be one of the harder ones to get a hang of in the first 3 stages, especially if you want to do it as fast as I can. I do it even slightly faster than the guys who are faster than me at the speed run. But that all has to do with what I was just saying about running at an angle. It's because they can't do that, where they have to stop and like do a whole trucker reversal move with Gabe Logan. I just yoinky sploink out of there. And that is me playing to my strengths. Anyway, look at where Mara already is by the time you can... I almost got her, but by comparison, when you load early, just like in the first stage, the car doesn't blow up yet until you're already running. She's still rolling into position right here. I fucked it up horribly anyway, but that was just sheer incompetence, though. You can see how much time I had to fuck it up.
Where's Ron? Leon, I'm on my way to the park.
I've set the pickup frequency.
And this right here is the turning point. At this point here, the NPCs get a little less incompetent. If you're not actively maneuvering around them, they can kill you pretty easy even in this first spot. But the reason why I was saying that it was hard to maybe do that first stage, that first objective, is because the logic with these bombs can be really weird. You have to know exactly where to stand, who to kill, when to kill. Oh, and you don't want to do that. Rookie mistake.
Right.
I just have a bad habit of reloading, but I'll shake it right away. There's coordinated places to reload. and see pallets swap into the 45 with from a two-handed weapon, and it's like a fake shotgun is what I call it. At close range, it's about just as strong, but you get your two-handed roll, which is faster. And if you were listening to me yap about it last night, you understand how it works and how it technically counts as a continuous fast sneak.
Cover me. Gabe, you're targeting a bomb. Shooting it will set it off.
That was pretty bad. That should have been it though, right? Yeah. I can normally get that about like 4 or 5 seconds later, but I think I fucked up the spawns. That's another one, see, because it depends on proximity, it depends on line of sight, it depends on, you know, other hidden flags and things like that, which aren't completely clear to the community yet. Not entirely, at least. But that sort of positioning here then is all critical to spawning them in a certain order. So like here, I always stand by this bush so that the guy spawns behind me, and then that guy in front of me. And as long as 4 are dead, you should be able to force the checkpoint. And there you go. Same thing here too, you'll go immediately to the left. But you don't want to cross the line, you don't want to step on the line. It's bad luck. I'm just kidding, but you don't want to get too far that the guy behind you doesn't spawn, which I must have. Same thing, as long as 4 are dead. If you get it really good with like those early spawns I was trying you can force the checkpoint right here. So I could have been like 2-3 seconds ahead already. I could have ran just for the goal basically. Damn. I'm pretty sure that's what Gabe was about to say, too. And see, I know where I fucked up. There was a moment where you saw me not roll perfectly consecutively. That ruins it. It's gotta be like... It's not too hard, it's pretty generous, but... if it's not within, like, that frame... where you're walking, that you're resetting your continuous roll... they'll hear you run, you know, quote-unquote. It'll detect the actual running movement versus, you know, repetitive rolls, which technically don't make sound. All that grass crunching, you don't hear that.
Right.
I'm getting interference. You must be right on top of their uplink dish.
Bitch, oh.
Check.
And this is what I like having a lot of M16 ammo for.
I'm at the entrance. Tell CBDC.
You want your shotgun for Gerdu,
You don't have much time.
for gear ducks.
Anton.
And this one's easy, just
I hope
strafe
Roman's
hard to the
paying you
left
enough to-
diagonal. Like a left forward diagonal.
Gabe, your dude's
Behind the statue and then peek out with the strafe. And then make sure you release it so that he snaps back into place. Because otherwise the danger meter will stick and he'll flamethrower you and you die.
Gabe, are you alright?
He's finished.
And then we'll see how well I can do this just off a roll.
We've analyzed blood taken from Romer's men. It contains...
Same thing too, I go for the palette swap just to keep my roll.
Biggins heading for the
Right.
Damn. Ooh, he saw me.
damn, blown your cover.
Yeah, see, so that's a lot riskier than the rolling crouch. Because normally you would, you know, hard stop into a crouch and then roll from there.
Biggins heading.
Right.
Damn, blown your cover.
Oh, they will see the dead body. They didn't notice the other guy dying, so I didn't think they were that smart. Anyway, yeah, that's the first stage group. That's not too bad. I'll touch on this one tomorrow because it can take a little bit more. But then tomorrow evening, I'll actually do the Omega String. Because we're going to start small with these. Did I restart mission? I meant to select mission. Just because I want to look at the rolls real quick.
blood taken from Romer's men. It contains
Oh,
compounds
well, you know what?
identical to those extracted from the plants taken from Romer's plantation in Costa Rica.
I forget I'm whole ass playing on a different, on an emulator now. Ooh. There's another stage where you can do it. Because this stage also goes from briefing to right to this. But yeah, it's all the little stuff though with like the rolling. The main reason as to why, you know, I do the palette swap. Oh shit, they open this up by default on this stage. As part of the speedrun, you don't have to open this gate, you just throw a grenade in there. But, you know, the game fully expects you to pop it open, but it's very subtle, or maybe not so subtle once you get used to it, but like the momentum for rolls. Look at this one-handed roll off of a surface, for example. Pretty fast falling momentum compared to like a two-handed. Which you usually want to do that for like those snappier rolls. There's like one or two instances where like you basically need to do that. It's usually for like those late game fire skips though. You don't want to count on your two-handed roll, but look at your one-handed roll when you're running though. Even with like my fast, here's like your typical running roll. Look at like the step that he takes in between. This is just mashing circle. You see how his model resets in between? He like does a running thing for a frame and then rolls. If you do this little secret input that I do though, as long as I do it perfectly fine, you shouldn't see like any reset. Maybe like a crouched reset in between. But that's with a one-handed though. He still takes this weird little stride, but with a two-handed, he just leans into it. He doesn't do that little warm-up first. And then if you pair that with the continuous rolling, the way that I do, and as long as you don't mess it up in between, it counts as, like I said, sneaking. It's a scary-ass dude. So that's the main reason why you always see me palette swapping. It's because the 9mm is a good gun, but I'd rather have it two-handed, so two-handed 9mm. That way I get all the benefits of the two-handed roll while still being able to just... Oh. And same thing too, and then the other thing you'll see me do a lot, or the thing that you need to do a lot for the speedrun, is the interact skip. To keep you from doing this every time, you can just do this. That's not how you do it, but yeah. It saves that animation each time. But we'll get into this stage specifically, I guess, like in a couple of days. Or what I'll probably do is I'll run a... Yeah, because everything up to this final stage, going up to the stronghold, marks basically the first half of the stage. Or the first half of the run. At best, it takes me like 20-something, 30 minutes to get up to this point. In the speedrun, it took me about 30 to get to the stronghold. But then, yeah, this fire skip is a big part of it, though. And see, I can tell where I fucked up right there. I got, even now, even doing it perfectly a lot of the time, I get scared and try to wiggle out of the fire instead of just plowing straight through. And, you know, that forces you to stay in the fire long enough to die. And I know that. And it's just, I do it anyway, because it's a scary skip. Especially the way that I do it, I try not to go for any kind of lineup, I just try to... Easier said than done, though, especially in one try. And see, boom. Shit. Anyway, yeah, that's a hard stage. It should be fine once I actually get to it and can, you know, do all that. But once you get to the stronghold, those 3 stages building up to the catacombs, and then the final 6 stages in the warehouses. That is, that would be the second half. Those 2 stage groups make it up by themselves. So what I'll do is I'll play the museum group tomorrow. And, oh shit, the void? Yeah, what I'll do is I'll play the museum group tomorrow, and then the day after that I'll move on to the base and that whole segment, and then I'll probably spend a good day or 2 trying to run those early stages for these early sessions. Because those longer sessions, I won't have time to sprinkle in the speedrun into them just yet. I'll want to get Omega Strain completely out of the way, and there's going to be a lot of practice to go into remembering what to do with the speedrun proper. Not really remembering, but just, you know, not sucking at it again. Especially in the later stages where it gets a lot harder. But it's really just the catacombs and then like a couple of those late stages. The warehouses. As well as... the catacombs themselves especially. So I'm going to beat around the bush getting to those, but that'll be probably the focus of next week then. For those morning sessions, I'll probably run the 2 parts of the Stronghold first. And then on a separate day, I'll run the Catacombs, because the Catacombs, even just playing the game normally, it's probably the worst stage. It's the most annoying and slow, tedious one. But especially during the speedrun, it's god-awful. And then those final segments are so long that I'll probably want to break them up into a couple of segments too, but then I'll pack them all together and do them all as like one half as well. And then once I've got it all, you know, back in order, then we can start doing full runs for the last 2 weeks. And by that point, Omega Strain should be done and over with. I'll be editing in the background and stuff, but you know, we'll be doing the full runs, full attempts by that point, by like halfway through January, the last 12, 15 days at least. But so if you want to see those actual runs, especially keep an eye out during the end of the month. Otherwise, you know, if you want the usual stuff, come back tomorrow evening. Well, tomorrow afternoon, the usual hour, the 5 p.m. hour for me. And we'll do Omega Strain. Otherwise, you know, I'll be doing this again tomorrow around the same time, the next couple of stages, and so on and so forth, every day until the end of January. So, come back for more, and thanks for sticking around.